Something huge may have happened around Area 51 over the weekend, Tyler Durden of Zero Hedge reports. It looks as though something big was taking place around Area 51 over the weekend, according to fragmented reports from various sources compiled by The Drive. The reports note that significant tests could have been happening over the weekend after learning that notices to airmen, which is NOTAMS for short, NOTAMS, notices to airmen, had been published that marked certain areas within the Nevada Test and Training Range, NTTR, off limits to any air traffic at any altitude. The NOTAMs are generally for military aircrew, not civilian or commercial air traffic. They were first pointed out by an aviation enthusiast on Twitter. Brian Herbert, August 8, tweeted, 128-2250, unidentified flight, no call sign heard, talking to an unheard station about a rain delay and remaining in a holding pattern. I see no NOTAM for what appears to be a launch in R4806E. I wonder if the aircraft was for launch support. Also, I want to point out I did not hear the aircraft land at Nellis or Creech. If they did, I did not hear them contact approach or the tower. The area in question, R4806, is an elongated north to south block of restricted airspace that measures roughly 50 by 15 miles, and it sits south of the small community of Alamo and east of R4806 West. The area is noteworthy for a couple of reasons. R4806 West includes Dog Bone Dry Lake, a number of air-to-ground targets, and a moot facility that is often used by JTAC training, and other ground and air asset integration exercises are located there. At the center of R4806E, the restricted airspace in question is Desert Dry Lake, but nothing is really located there or on the stretch of ground that sits below this airspace as a whole. It's also worth noting that Desert Lake sits roughly 30 miles southeast of Groom Lake, Area 51, that is. Another NOTAM was posted for August 10th for the same airspace, beginning at 8 p.m. local time. It was similar to the initial NOTAM in that it covered from the ground to unlimited altitude. So, Brian Herbert tweets another NOTAM for R4806E. The window opens at 8 p.m. Los Angeles time. Just like the other night, the ceiling on this is unlimited, indicating it's some sort of a launch. Finally, another NOTAM was published spanning several days, starting on August 10, that also limits the same massive stretch of airspace. This NOTAM was for a massive block of restricted airspace on the western flank of Area 51's notorious no-go box that hangs over the clandestine installation. This NOTAM is active from midnight August 11th through 5:59 a.m. on August 12th. Brian Herbert tweets another interesting NOTAM. This one is for R4807A, which separates Groom Lake, R4808 north, from Tonopah Test Range, R4809. In addition to these notices, there were also reports of odd Janet flights, quote unquote. Janet flights are the nickname for the nonstop flights to Area 51 from Las Vegas Airport by onlookers. This activity was described as unusual and is speculated to be indicative of a major test event in Area 51. It's well known that the NTTR is used for all different types of training, test flights, and classified exercises for new technology. And while setting aside airspace for tests may not be uncommon, this activity on the weekend covered an unlimited altitude. It is noteworthy. The article notes that the NTTR usually does not support traditional rocket tests, but some have suggested the obvious explanation of test rockets launches due to the unlimited altitude restrictions. Some have also noted that the laser and other direct energy weapon systems could require fully sanitized airspace for safety concerns. The precautions could also be for testing sensitive aircraft that could be capable of extreme altitudes. There has also been some more exotic speculation. Quote, of course, there are many other potential explanations. They don't call Area 51 dreamland for nothing, and its own relatively limited airspace would certainly get augmented by the surrounding ranges for expanding testing as required, especially on the weekends when normal military traffic is at a minimum. N4807A also contains the Tolika Peak Electronic Combat Range, ECR for short. It's a critical complex that is dotted with real and simulated enemy air defense, electronic warfare systems that is highly relevant to the development of future air combat systems and the fine-tuning of tactics and subsystems for ones that are already in operation, end quote. People have also speculated in recent years that the secret testing around Area 51 has to do with B-51 Raiders development, or perhaps the government is simply gearing up for a raid on Area 51 that will supposedly take place in early September. Regardless, it was undoubtedly a busy weekend for one of the most mysterious and widely speculated about test ranges in the United States. We will follow this story closely for more updates. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.